This video is going to show you or teach you how to name an alcohol. And we talked about these briefly in class one day, but alcohols are derived from hydrocarbons, and instead of having all H's, one of those or more of the H's are removed and replaced with an OH or hydroxyl group. The naming rules are very, very simple, and you can read through these. I will go through them really quickly with you. But it's one thing to realize that when you add an OH group on a molecule, it now creates an area of a polar area. Now, an OH could be the very small part of an extremely long chain, and that polar group won't have much impact. But if you have several OH groups along a long chain, that will make a difference. Or if the chain is small and it's a big part of the molecule, then that alcohol will be a lot more soluble in water than, say, a normal alkane. Now, these alcohols here, if you look at these, the rules are pretty simple. You find the longest parent chain, but the parent chain has to have the OH group. Then you number the parent chain carbons so that the OH group has the smallest number, no matter what the other substituents are. So your OH group is always going to have the smallest number. And then you normally number things just the way you would, but change the ending to all. So we're going to practice some of these right here on the next page. So this very first one, in the upper left-hand corner right here, if you were to look at that compound and try to name it, you would notice that it has a parent chain of 3 carbons. Let me do another color. Okay, 3 carbons. And that carbon is the second carbon that is holding the OH group. So we would call that 2-propanol. That's the correct IUPAC name for that one. If you look at the next one, moving over, you still have a parent chain of 3, but now you have the OH group hanging off as well as a methyl group. Now it's the OH group that designates the number, but in this case, the methyl's off the same carbon, so it really doesn't matter. You would want to start by saying 2-methyl, and then the fact that this is an alcohol will make you say that it is 2-propanol. On the third example over here, you'll notice that your parent chain is only 2 carbons. And it doesn't matter which one you call 1 or 2. Let's just go in left to right. You have 2 alcohol groups, each located on a different carbon. So the way that you would name this one is you would want to call ethane. It has a prefix of 2, but there are 2 alcohol groups. So instead of ethanol, you're going to say ethane diol. But you got to tell me where they live. So this is going to be 1, 2, ethane, diol. The di indicating that there are 2 alcohol groups. They are located on the 1 and the 2 carbon. And on this last example here, you have a parent chain of 3. Each one of these each one of the carbons is holding up an alcohol group. So the parent chain would be propane. We're going to change it to propanol because it's an alcohol, but in this case there are 3 alcohol groups, so it would have to be a triol. You're going to want to tell me where they live. So 1, 2, 3, propane, triol. And that tri is from the fact that there are 3 OH groups. That should about cover our naming alcohols.